What's going on, football fans? Good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time zone you are in. I am Bill Corpus Crispy Murphy, and welcome to week two edition of Thursday Night Gridiron. I am joined by Danny Boy Reginald, the vice president of the network, and Mark Old Ops Guy Halpern. Gentlemen, how we doing tonight?
It's a nice, cool Thursday night here in New York. Ready to watch the Cheeseheads lose.
That's for the batch man.
You got it.
Oh, God. All good, all good. Thank you for joining us, folks. We are sponsored by the Dugout in Millwood.
This
The Old
guy in the
Ops Guy,
middle.
we appreciate you.
Thank you, old ops guy.
That,
And
that's what I'm good for these days.
you know, yeah, thanks
Yeah.
to the Dugout for sponsoring all the shows here on the network. We appreciate you. And we got football, as Bill just mentioned, Packers, Commanders. Um, on short rest for both teams. Quite interesting.
Yeah, we got a both teams coming off a win. Last week we had the Commanders beat my beloved New York Giants 21-6. Jaden Daniels went 19 for 30, 233 yards and one touchdown, was sacked three times, and touchdowns by Ja'Cory Crosby Merritt, Debo Samuel, and Zach Ertz. I think, okay, while the Commanders looked good last week, okay, they only scored three touchdowns, and you got to look at it this way, fellas. And I am saying this as a Giants fan. My poster in the back. The Giants O-line is garbage.
More
Not to
than
not to show off the star here for that, but I will agree with that here. I'll just make it that easy.
Yeah, no, the Giants O-line is absolute crap. We've had this problem for 10 years, and nothing gets fixed. But that's a whole rant for a different day, and we don't have a lot of time, so... Yeah, but anyway, I think Jaden Daniels looked good. I think he had a solid game.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't his best. He was what, 1930, you said? So, I mean, uh, eh, not the best throwing day. But you can tell that he knows how to operate, especially now with 1 year experience, and he got better and better each week last season. You can tell that he knows how to fully operate a professional football offense. So, yeah, Jaden Daniels, I expect him once again, to get better and better each game. I don't know what this night's going to take because I got to give props to the Packers defense. We'll get to that in a second. They did a pretty good job against Detroit. So on the Commanders' end, you have that. I love this kid, the Krosky Merritt. They call him Bill. And over at in Ashburn. That's his nickname because apparently when he was little, they compared him to Lil Bill, the Bill Cosby cartoon from back in the day. So um,
On the Osby A.
don't worry, that's the only reference we'll make of that guy. But yeah, he's shown some good flashes. I love that touchdown pass that Jane Daniels threw to Debo Samuel that pretty much iced the game. That was good. I was hoping a little more connection between him and McLaurin. Not much there, but that could change throughout the season. But so far, so good. Defense was tremendous on the Commander's side. That's no shocker given the coach. And you just got to move forward from there. Old ops guy.
Jaden Daniels, like Bill said, 19 to 31 touchdown. And taking what Bill said, saying that, he was steady, he was good. And what Dan said is he knows how to control a national football team, a good quarterback on a good now up and coming team. I look at what he did is he beat up on the little boys in blue. And you want to know what? He didn't overdo it. He played it safe. He didn't take too many chances because they were up. There was no need for it. The one thing I will say, and I had it in my notes, is I agree 100% with Dan, is that I would like to see more with him and Terry McLaurin, especially because they just signed him to that huge extension.
Yeah.
So I was expecting rocket boosters from him, but maybe we'll see that tonight.
Yeah, McLaurin missed a chunk of training camp. Of course, that's not going to stop him. Like he was still in shape, he was still around the team. He just
Right.
wasn't practicing. But that you can tell, hey, by not practicing that they were a little off. Doesn't mean that they won't get on track as the season goes on. I just would have liked to have seen that chemistry that they've developed. Um, you know, throughout last year's campaign and then this year, but it'll eventually catch on.
Yeah, yeah, I absolutely agree. But you got Debo, you got McLaurin. I think Jaden's good. Now, on the flip side, the Packers beat the Lions last week, 27-13.
Yeah.
Jordan Love went 16 for 22, 188 yards, two touchdowns, and touchdowns by Josh Jacobs, Jaden Reed, and Tucker Kraft. Okay, I think Packers are in business right now. What do you guys think?
I didn't
The
see anything.
Packers made a
Go ahead, Mark.
sorry.
Go ahead,
No,
Mark.
sorry.
No, you got
The
it. You
Packers
talk
made
first.
that huge move right before the season to make the trade for Micah Parsons.
And
Again,
which made
you know,
Olaf's guy very depressed.
yes, but that's a talk for another day. But go check it out on the network. There's a nice YouTube cast on it. The Packers defense looked the best I've seen them in a few years. And that's a good sign. And the offense was balanced. Jacobs brings something that Aaron Jones could not. He brings that power running back. I want to see more from Matthew Golden, and we will see that. Um, but no, Love looked good. He looked focused, and they beat the Lions, which, like anybody else will tell you, is huge. Dan.
I think with the Packers, they didn't do anything special on offense. Um, they took advantage of a Detroit team that came out flat. Let's be honest. They were not ready for week one. I don't know if it's the change in coaching staff because they
I
did
think that could be it.
they lost Aaron Glenn, their defensive guru, and then they lost Ben Johnson, their offensive guru. So maybe it's week one. Obviously, they had a whole preseason, but how many players actually play in the preseason? So, I think they're still trying to get into a rhythm with that, with this new coaching staff. Not look, they have good coaches there, and the team is basically the same, minus and with all the additions of new players and all that stuff, revolving door essentially. But um they came out flat, and the Packers, to their credit, took advantage of that. Again, nothing special on offense. They didn't. It's not like they did anything crazy. You know, they just moved the ball well, and all power to them. Defense, and look, Micah Parsons. It's not like he had a great game, but you can tell that defense is much better with him being that
Yes.
big anchor on that line. You can tell it's much different. They're faster, they're stronger, they're more confident. That's a big deal if you're Green Bay. And that's why you pay him, even though I think they overpaid for Micah. He's not worth what he's making. But there's a reason why you overpay. This is the reason.
And one of the biggest things is Dan Quinn coached him. He brought him up.
Yeah.
Look for Dan Quinn to have some special packages
Yeah.
in to try to keep him calm.
Yeah. He did a very good job last season against the
Oh,
Cowboys. Um, they lost that was that one game in Washington, I think. Or
yeah.
yeah,
But
but
Yeah.
Quinn is that defensive coach that should have been in Dallas. Should
yeah,
never have left. And I bet you if he didn't leave, Parsons doesn't leave. But that's not a talk right now.
Yeah,
Quinn
look, if
one
he
of the
stayed,
best
he's definitely the coach.
defensive-minded coaches.
That's the
And
thing that you lost out on. He went to Washington, got an opportunity.
yes,
He stayed in Washington. He's the coach right
Yes.
now. Like let's call it like it is.
No,
yep.
he's a no, because he's a strong coach. Look at the defense. And the defense looked good last week in Washington, but then again, you're playing the Giants and a washed up Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
So that's really nothing to tout right now.
It- Go ahead.
Being fair, I apologize. Okay. Being fair, Russ, and look, he was horrible. We talked about that on SIP today.
Yes, we did.
He was horrible. And I think Jackson Dart should at least be ready to go, or Jameis, whichever one they want to be ready. Um, the offense was not good either. The offensive line stunk. He had no time at all to move around. So there's that aspect too. You also have to give credit to the Commanders defense because they attacked Russ like it was like butter. They're sweeping in and they got to him easily.
Yes. Well, okay. Uh, whose win was more impressive last week?
Oh, Green Bay.
Oh,
Green
absolutely.
Bay.
Green Bay.
I mean, go ahead, Bill.
Because like I said, Detroit was, Detroit looked sloppy last week. And it could be change of coaching staff as Ben Johnson's now in Chicago. Aaron Glenn is now in the Jets. And they looked sloppy. And but no, I think Green Bay looked consistent and steady. And but then again, at the same time, we've said this about 20 times already. The Commanders were playing a Giants team that has a shit O-line. They have a shit O-line. They have a washed up QB. So yeah, I think Green Bay's win was way more impressive.
Green Bay
And
Packers
no, go
are
ahead.
a are a force in the NFC for the first time in a long time. The question will be is can Jordan Love take advantage of what he has now and use that momentum going forward? Or are they going to try and take it easier and softer because of how good this Washington defense is? And by doing that, might take him out of this game early. That's my concern.
It's tough because he's hovering around veteran status now, right? He's been around the block enough times in the NFL. He knows what it's like.
Yes. So
It's tough. It's
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, it is tough, and you got to see with what Jordan Love has right now with the new wide receiver with Matthew Golden.
Mhm.
Got to see how that is going to be. Now, moving on, where would you put these teams in the stand in the NFC?
You got a possible look at the playoff matchup. Absolutely. I mean, I'm not talking the NFC conference game, as we know the president is licking his chops because he's not here to defend that. But they're not going to the NFC Championship. But you are looking at a possible second round playoff game here at the end of
Okay.
the season. So I would put them in the top six right now.
I would say I would put Washington in the top 10. And as of this moment, the Packers on the outside looking in of the top 10 because it's only week one. And I really don't want to be having this conversation yet. But, first, Reg, where would you put them in the conference?
Who? Packers?
Yeah, where do you
I,
think they're sitting at?
it's too early to say because again, you know, I don't know what the Lions are going to be this season. So is it possible that the Packers, play the Lions team that's going to be up and down, magically up and down this season? I don't know. Did the Commanders just run into a Giants team that, had week one jitters? I don't know. Like you get a sense the Giants are going to be terrible. So Commanders are probably going to have the leg up in that division race, probably between Philly and Washington. That's my guess. Um, I think Commanders, based on what I saw so far, what I've seen so far, excuse me, um, I would say Commanders have better chance of making the playoffs than the Packers do. That's good. This is a tough NFC. I've up and down. This NFC is very, very, very scary. That's the reality of the situation. Um, I wouldn't say outside looking in. I think the Packers are there. They have a good enough team for sure.
You know, here's a question, and I know um Olaf's briefly touched upon this. Um, when it comes to Lions, but who do you think the Lions are the biggest threat, the Packers are the biggest threat to the Lions in the NFC North, and do you think the Commanders are the biggest threat to the Eagles in the NFC East?
I think the team that is the biggest threat hasn't been mentioned yet, and that's the
Let's hear
Minnesota
it.
Vikings. That's the
Yeah, they played
Minnesota
a
Vikings.
very good game on Monday night.
Told you, Bill.
Yeah,
And
Reggie was right.
look, the Minnesota Vikings are missing one of the biggest key components of their team right now, and that's Jordan Addison. That makes Justin Jefferson easily double covered, even with TJ Hawkinson there. Once they get Addison back in week 4, I would think the Packers and the Bears and the Lions need to start wondering how fast of a start Minnesota is now going to get. That being said, right now, to answer Bill's question, if you had to do it by just what's there now, we're not waiting till week 4. Yeah, I would say the Packers are the biggest threat to the Lions as of right now. I think the Lions secondary did not improve, and you can see that. Okay, let Jordan Love make better than 65% of his passes, and you can't do that.
No, absolutely. So, Reg, what do you think? Reg?
But in terms of the biggest threat, I don't know yet. I don't know. Vikings had a great second half against the Bears. They're down big. They came back big. Um, I still think it's the Eagles are a threat to everybody. That run game is tremendous. That defense, look against the Cowboys. That defense is tremendous. They gave what 20 points? Like that's based on what Patrick Mahomes can put up in 1 week. He put up 40 in 1 week. Lamar can put up 40 in 1 week. Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, like you see all these teams put up like 30 plus. They limited the Cowboys at 20 points. I mean, that's a pretty damn good defense they got there.
Oh, it's a
If,
very damn good
if
defense.
if they had Jalen Carter, they would have stopped the pass rush. But
Here are my thoughts. As of now, keyword as of now, I think in the NFC North, I don't want to say Green Bay is a threat to Detroit yet, because like what you guys just said, Minnesota. Ask me in a
Yes,
couple weeks. Ask me again in a couple weeks, and I probably might say Minnesota might be a threat to Detroit, or Chicago might step on the gas. So I'm going to say it's one of those three. But
I,
when it comes to the NFC East, I'm gonna say the Commanders are probably gonna be the biggest threat to Philly, but you gotta look at the other competition. After what I saw on Sunday, Giants do not look like they're gonna be a threat to anybody.
And the
And
Cowboys are not going to be a threat either.
Yeah.
yeah, well, Cowboys, who
Okay.
knows?
Now, Cowboys, look, I'm going to make this fast because we're not here to talk about Dallas and the Giants. The Dallas Cowboys will be there as a threat, but right now, the biggest threat to Washington is Philadelphia. I think Washington will win this NFC East because Washington is hungrier and Dan Quinn wants a championship. And if there's any time for a chance for Dan Quinn to do it, it's going to be with this franchise and this roster.
Yeah, real quick. I'm not comfortable because I just don't know what I'm gonna get out of these teams yet. Again, week one is the big overreaction week. We overreact to how great some of these teams are. You're fine, and we overreact to how some of the bad performances too. So yeah.
We gotta move along here. Okay, Jaden Daniels or Jordan Love? Who has more pressure, and which would you rather have?
Well, that's a good one. I mean,
Mark, you want to go first?
Sure. I
yeah.
just didn't want to, I thought Dan was coming out.
No,
I
no,
just,
I'm thinking. I'm sorry.
when you look at the two quarterbacks, I think Jaden Daniels, I would want more as my starter, but I think Jordan Love has the more pressure on him because he's got to lead a whole Packers team. Jaden Daniels has 3 more years on his rookie deal. He doesn't have to worry about much. Jordan Love's time, however, could end faster than it begins.
Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of split on this one because on one hand, Jordan Love's been there for almost 5 years. He just started about this is his third year as a starter. So
Yes.
I think Jordan Love needs to produce quick. But on the other side of the coin, though, Mark, is you got to look at it this way. The the Jaden Daniels, I think he has pressure in the sense that last year in his rookie season, he took a team who's going through a rebuild, new ownership, new head coach to the NFC Championship game. And I think in that first season, Jaden Daniels set the bar pretty high.
He See, here's the thing about rookie quarterbacks that I love the most is they're unpredictable. We've seen from Johnny Manziel to Jaden Daniels, and we've seen a lot of quarterbacks come and go. Of all of them that have been out there, Baker, I mentioned Manziel, please, I'm not even going to bring it up. I'm going to say Baker is a first round pick. Jaden Daniels has the most opportunity right now with this team. And I think he is proven, like Dan said earlier, ready to assume that top accolade spot. And that's hard to say. Danny boy.
I think most pressure. I would think Jaden only because he had a tremendous rookie campaign. I wouldn't say he was definitely top tier, for sure. I'm gonna go that far to say. He had a great rookie campaign. So I think in that perspective, um, there's going to be a lot riding on him because we now know what we're getting out of uh kind of sort of know what we're getting out of Jaden Daniels. The only reason why I can't pick Jordan Love is because we've also gotten to know him pretty well. And what we've known so far is when it comes to the big game, he can't get the job done. He can play well, but He needs to get the job done. Great job during the regular season, though. So I think the more pressure's on Jaden because now they're trying to elevate. They got better this offseason, so they're trying to elevate this team. The Packers are also trying to elevate. They're just in a tougher division.
Yes.
Absolutely.
No, oh, that's 100% correct. So, yeah, which one of those would you rather have?
Yeah. Watching Love for the last 3 years and watching Daniels for one, it's hard to say I want one over the other. But if I had to make a decision right now, give me Jaden Daniels.
Okay.
Jaden Daniels.
I would go with Jaden Daniels too. All right,
Not to
now,
take a lot away from Love, he's a
Yeah,
good quarterback.
yeah. I want to emphasize, like, I'm very impressed with Jordan Love.
Hmm.
Um, I'm
now,
and more credit really goes to the coaching staff for properly developing him too.
now, hate to bring up a sore subject to Mark here. What is Micah Parsons' expectations for the season?
So, of course, we were all wondering, was Parsons going to play in week one? With the back injury, now here was the info on the back injury that a lot of people didn't know. It goes back to last year. It cost him 2 games. He had an injection. He got time to heal, and he got traded at the right time. It was a great deal. Dallas made out good. The Packers made out good. It balanced out. So the expectations for Parsons last week wasn't much originally. When he was ruled eligible, I even said he was going to have a sack. Tonight, he has to prove that he can beat not the Washington offensive line. He has to beat Dan Quinn because, as Dan pointed out earlier, last year Dan Quinn stopped him and stopped him good. So if Parsons' expectation is going to be anything, he's got to be able to prove it tonight against an NFC team in which he faced for his first 4 years of his NFL tenure.
Yes, absolutely. And I think his expectations this year, he is really gonna beef up the edge rush in Green Bay, him and Lucas Van Ness. So I think that he's really gonna boost up that edge rush. Reggie, what do you think?
With Parsons specifically, I think a lot of it is just being that big time leader that we know he could be because we know his game. We know he can get to the quarterback. We know he could also pick off the football. We've seen a couple
Yep.
interceptions here and there. He's a strong guy. He's a very athletic guy. Now, it's because of what he's making. It's now not only about his play, but how does he make the Packers defense better? Because it's very clear people are looking to him now. So more leadership now on top of his hopefully excellent football that he's going to bring out on defense.
Yes, totally agree. Okay, next. What are the keys to the game or X factors for both teams?
I think for the Packers, it's going to have to get that running game off and started with Jacobs,
Yeah.
and then work in a little bit of play action.
Mhm.
For Washington, it's come out and attack that Packer defense, get
Mhm.
some points on the board, and they need to make a couple of big first half stops.
Yeah. For Washington, I need that passing game to be better. I think it will be tonight, but let's see. Um, it'll be a long night if it's like butter with that offensive line. It'd be a very long night for Washington. And for the Packers, Mark nailed it. I need big time running game and just making sure that you get points off your offense. They had 27 last week against the Lions. That's good, but knowing you have a strong defense, the best way to put away a team is to score more points. So hopefully they can score more.
Okay. My my X factor is I'm gonna agree with you guys. I think they got to get the run game going, especially with Josh Jacobs. I think they got to get moving and they got to attack early for Washington. I think it's gonna be the O line. Like you gotta stop Micah Parsons. You gotta stop Lucas Van Ness. I think their O line is gonna be the big S factor. Okay. And last and not least, what is your predictions for tonight? Mark?
Give me Jaden Daniels to win the night out, throwing at least 3 touchdown passes tonight. Um, but don't shy away from the Packers of being in there. It'll come up to some big stops inside the 20, but I think Washington wins this game hands down.
I think it's gonna be close. It's not gonna be a high scoring affair. It's gonna be more like a 17-13 type of thing. I think Washington wins.
I think it's going to be Washington 20-14. So I think it's going to be a close game.
And from our fearless leader, he's actually picking the Commanders to beat his Packers.
And a
Interesting.
high scoring affair too.
Really?
Yes.
What's he picking?
30-25 Commanders. He must have been smelling a lot of fish fumes today.
Yeah, that's what he does all day.
And then the big key, stay healthy, help produce on
Yes.
defense. I believe that's what he was saying for Micah Parsons. And
Yeah, I would like to see Parsons really shine tonight,
yeah,
but I think I just can't wait to see what Dan Quinn has in store for
yeah,
him.
yeah. And then he's been preparing. Look, he knows Micah in and out. So,
Right.
it's gonna be interesting.
Now, do we have time for that? For you know what, Mark? Or do you think we should?
Bill, I can give you 5 minutes. We'll give it 5 minutes.
All right, Giants versus Cowboys this Sunday. Mark, this
Okay,
should
we'll
be
make it.
fun, should it?
Look, it's not in New York, thank God. It's going to be in Dallas. It comes down to two things for the Giants. One, that Giants D has to show up like it did last week. Yes, they
Oh,
lost,
absolutely.
but the Giants D was not bad. I'm not going to say they were awful. They
It
weren't.
wasn't. No, it was actually pretty
Yeah.
good.
For Dallas, they got to get the run game started. And for Prescott, it's not finding CD Lamb. It's getting George Pickens involved more to open up deep balls to CD Lamb. What can I see from the Giants offense? The Giants offense, like Bill pointed out, offensive line better show up
Oh,
because Dallas is going to
absolutely.
blitz all day. Dallas is going to blitz all day. I don't trust Russell Wilson to make those passes to Malik Neighbors anymore.
I don't either.
I think it's time. And look, I happen to have been a very big Russell Wilson fan when he was in Seattle. I hated when he went to Denver. I understood it. Russell Wilson is past his time. It's time to hang it up. Let Jameson take over for 2 weeks and then give it over to Dart if they're really sitting 0-4. That's my thought.
Oh, absolutely.
Even Patchy agrees. The Giants die.
Yeah, the Giants, they have something going on that defense.
Yes.
So I'm not going to fault the defense. They did their job. The thing is the offense, and again, it's both. It's both things. It's the quarterback and the fact that they didn't have any protection for Russell Wilson whatsoever. It's going to be a very long season if they keep Russell Wilson for a very long time. I honestly don't think it goes past 4 weeks.
Neither do I.
And like I said, Jameis or Dart. Just be ready. Like, just be ready because if it becomes a nightmare, and the Cowboys have had their way with the Giants, so if it
You'll
becomes
see
another
one of the two.
nightmare, like
Yeah.
it's gonna be ugly. And look, I know technically speaking, Joe Shane, Brian Dable, they're not necessarily on the hot seat because they got to pass. There's going to be jobs on the line here. Like they're that's hanging over their heads right now.
Listen,
So
Yep.
I said before the season started that Dable is not on the hot seat as much as he was before the draft. But if what we see down the line, I think he could. I think that seat could be heating up relatively soon.
yeah,
I think that seat could be relatively soon. So Brian Dable, don't breathe a sigh of relief and go through your mind that just because you drafted a new young quarterback, that he's gonna be your season is that your job is safe.
The
You
New
need to
York
start.
Giants had a huge opportunity to redo this team,
mhm.
They didn't take it.
and they dropped the ball this offseason. I would have done away with Wilson. No, no offense to him, I would have just let him go.
Yeah,
He would have went somewhere as a backup or whatnot.
yeah,
Tracy would not be my running back. The only thing on that offense that I like is the fullback and Malik Neighbors. That's it.
yeah. And the O line is trash. So it's like
Yes,
there's a lot of issues that they did not address. I like that they addressed the quarterback. I like that they got Jackson Dart. That was a good move.
yes.
But
Great trade back.
but you have to complement that with good alignment. They thought they had something. They have nothing. It's bad. It's really bad.
Yep.
Because yeah, well, yeah. Here's the thing. That's but no, I gotta see how Russell Wilson does because he's scaring me. Right, he scared me last week. He
I
scared
think
me.
he's scaring all Giants Nation right now.
Yes.
Yeah, and but like I said,
Turn it over to
Brian
Jameis or
Dable,
turn it over to Jackson.
Brian Dable should not be sitting there thinking his job is safe right now.
Because it isn't.
Yeah, watch Sunday, folks. Either Mark and I will probably be watching the game together, or he'll be blowing up my phone.
Possibly. If I'm back in
Keyword in
time
that
now.
sentence is possibly.
Yes, if I'm back in time, but I would like to be live for that game. Yes.
Yeah, or he'll be blowing up my phone.
Yes.
And I got the bag.
Might have
Y'all
to
know
jump in
the bag
Monday.
might make an appearance.
Does it still
Okay.
smell like throw up and beer and all that stuff?
May
Throw
I
up in the
remind you that bag has remained clean for how long is that bag? That bag has remained clean for 4 years.
4 years.
and your water jug should be filled with your tears by now. That Charlotte made you.
Actually, I lied. There was one time my brother's friend put beer cans in it, but that the smell doesn't exist there anymore. But do you remember that one time when the Giants were playing the Cowboys and the Giants were getting smacked around? And I think that's when
Yeah, every
Charlotte sent me
year.
the picture of the jug. And I was over my
Yeah.
neighbor's house and I took a picture of their dog going, I'm watching the game with my emotional support animal.
Mark, here's a reminder from Michelle. Mark, go make
Yeah.
your oatmeal.
Okay, so that is it for today. Mark Goldop, Sky Halpern, Dan, Danny Boy Reg, thank you both for joining me today. If you want to know more, go to www.thesportsinsanitynetwork.com. Check out our blogs. Check out our blogs, our history. Go to YouTube to check out shows like this, Sunday Sideline Report. Batter Up. I don't know what the situation with that is. Maybe one of you gentlemen can address that.
Batter Up
Um,
will be moved to middle of the week. Mike, Dan, I, and anybody else who, on the network will be going in, full feet forward as the Yankees and Mets make it towards the playoffs.
Um,
and
the mothership pod is tomorrow night, tomorrow morning.
wait, what's the mothership? Oh, SIP.
What do you think it is? Come on now.
Whoop. Hashtag autistic moment. Hey, I can make that joke. Anyway,
Hey.
anyway, yeah, don't forget to check out SIP tomorrow morning, where Football Friday, Reg, our first official Football Friday.
Our first football Friday, for sure. We can't wait for it.
And don't forget to check out and like, comment, subscribe here on YouTube. For Marco Lobsky Halper and Danny Boy Reginald, I'm Bill Corpus Crispy Murphy. Stay safe.